What's good, YouTube? Dom, Stay with Sports Cards here, back with another video. Hope you're all doing well. And it's everyone's favorite time of the year again, YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame ballot season. It's crazy to think that it's been a calendar year since the first time I had the honor to sit down, go through my subscriptions, and assemble a ballot of 10 for our prestigious little club that we have here in the YouTube community. In this past year, it's put a lot of things in perspective, and it's made me appreciate my hobby brother, Jake, over at Let's Never Die, for the parameters that he put in place for Hall of Fame election, because there are so many deserving channels, but putting the caveats in there that you have to be making content for 3 years to be eligible for the Hall of Fame, I think is very important. That consistency and sticking around and being active means a lot to me. And the fact that you have to also be making YouTube content for 1 calendar year yourself to cast a ballot. I started watching the YouTube sports card community 7-8 years before I clicked play on my first video. And my perspective has changed a ton, not just because I've grown up, I'm 25 years old now, but because I've walked the walk. I've been a part of this community. I've put out content. I put myself out there. I've interacted with so many people, both in person and online. And it really, comes full circle and shows you what it takes to be a YouTube Sports Card Hall of Famer. So I know a lot of people, think this is a joke or don't like certain things about the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, but I think it's perfectly set up for what the entity is, and I'm honored to be casting a vote here yet again. So let's keep things positive in the comments and throughout YouTube during this process. It was hard for me to draft up this ballot again. There was plenty of deserving channels that missed my ballot last year that are still eligible, as well as a crop of a ton of deserving new channels this year. Thankfully, 4 of my 10 votes from last year did get elected, so congratulations again to Jimmy Guns, Eric 4-Leaf Cards, John Wade Boggs Fan, and Don Field of Dreams, as well as Terry over at TJ Mac Vintage Cards and Nostalgia, who did not receive my vote but was just missed off my list. So 5 guys that I was considering are gone, opens up 4 spots on my ballot. And there's been one change, I guess, in my process to the ballot, and it's simply just about the activity aspect. I know I said last year in my video that you had to make a video in the last calendar year to be eligible, but full transparency, my 2024, I was extremely busy. I had a lot of personal and life stuff, and I was disappointed that I only made 15 videos, which to some people, they're like, wow, Dom, that's, over 1 a month. You were active. You were also on a bunch of podcasts and lives and other content throughout the year as well. Don't be so hard on yourself, but there's so many things that I picked up that deserve their own videos. There were so many VRs that I wish I could have participated in and supported, this great community of people. And I just want to strive to be more active here in 2025. So I got a lot of things cooking, a lot of great ideas going, and, I hope to have a significant jump from 15 on my own channel. That being said, my new parameter for eligibility for my ballot is that you have to have double-digit videos made in the last calendar year, so 10 plus. So not quite 1 a month, but single digits is not going to be enough when I'm splitting hairs and leaving so many deserving channels off my ballot. So you got to make the effort and make some content. I know sometimes it can be harder than others. Sometimes you're not picking stuff up. But John Mangini, the hobby president, says to me all the time that, show cards from older videos. There's a lot of people that haven't watched the old one that will watch the new one or will forget about it and still enjoy it. There's ways to, show off and appreciate the collection you have. It doesn't always have to be about what's next and your newest pickups. It can just be about, oh, here's this set, or here's a post appreciating this player, or here is a VR for this channel where I show off these other great cards that I've showed off. It's been a couple years. So there's a lot of ways to still be in the timeline and be an active part of the content creating community. I know all of us are still active in many different channels, whether it's talking on the phone, texting, Discord, comment sections, etc. I interact with someone from the YouTube community almost every single day. and I'm blessed to have made these friendships. And pressing play on my first video was one of the best decisions I've ever made for my hobby life. So if any of you are out here that were like me and have just been lurking and just watching and enjoying the videos, enjoying certain people, enjoying the cards, enjoying the education, I strongly urge you to press play on your own video, start your own channel, become eligible, so you can be like I like to say, a small cog in this big hobby community machine. That being said, my other criteria has not changed. I'm sticking my Jimmy guns on that one, pun intended, that it's all about Mike Moynihan's kind of words as the founder of the Hall of Fame, that they should educate, entertain, or inspire, and all these channels do just that for me. These are all great guys, all great community members, all great collections with great channels. So without further ado, let's get into my 2025 YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame ballot. I'm going to go in order of seniority, so oldest first video to newest first video, and that's because that is the tiebreaker for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So first up, returning to my ballot, is Big Scott 35. His first video was in May of 2018, and Big Scott is, one of the most recognizable, lovable guys in this community. He has such a great positive attitude for the cards. He doesn't care if what he's collecting is popular. He just loves to collect and loves to show off what he picks up and enjoys. And he shows off a whole range of interests, from different sports to WWE to all these different things. And it's really, really awesome to follow his collecting journey. And every Sunday he will come out with a live, talking to many great collectors about different hobby news or different aspects of the hobby or things that have been on his mind lately. And he does a great job incorporating the chat and just making it a really welcoming place. So I've always appreciated Scott for that. And Scott does something that I'm extremely jealous of, which is he sits down with his dad and he has to talk baseball. And he has a great series of Scott and Pops where they talk about Major League Baseball and the Hall of Fame and all these different things. And I just know there's so many of us out there that wish that our dad was as into sports or cards as we are. So it's just really cool to see that as well. He's someone that's in your timeline consistently and has done that for many years, and I think he deserves to be a YouTube Sports Card Hall of Famer. The next one, against his well wishes, is Carlos from Become Carlos. His first card video was September 2018. He's making movie review videos before that. And Carlos, has jokingly said a lot of things about the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, but he deserves to be in there. And it's pretty simple. He has the longest running live show in the YouTube Sports Card community, longer than Card Room Live, longer than Big Scott's Live, longer than For Collectors. He's been out there for many, many years, and he continually, for hundreds of weeks, has sat down with his buds, talked about what's news in the hobby, talked about what he's picking up, talking about stories, and he does such a great job of balancing the hobby news element stuff that people want to hear about with the collector side of things. And he does it with a snarky, sarcastic sense of humor that I really appreciate. Carlos is a great member of this community, and don't let the snarkiness fool you. He's a good guy. He's a collector just like all of us, and his channel and the impact that he has in this community is Hall of Fame worthy. Next is Eddie over at Eddie's Cardboard Chaos. April 2019 was his first video, and Eddie is probably my most quoted YouTuber because he signs off his videos saying, remember, we don't count subscribers, we count friends. And when I talked about my perspective changing since becoming an active member of this community, that's a big difference. Is it used to be guys that I would just watch and learn from, and now it's people that I've gotten to really know. I've gotten to shake their hand in person. I've gotten to hang out, and the friendships are really what this whole community is all about. And I know the term Hall of Fame makes it sound like it should be the most subscribed to channels, the biggest money collections, like the best of the best, but you don't need all that to be a Hall of Famer. And Eddie's a perfect example why. His attitude, the spotlights he shows to lesser known players, the TTM community, he's a staple in it. So many great TTM videos and success stories over the years. And he's just a great guy, a great member of this community that always reminds us what this community is really all about, and it's about the friendships. Eddie and I got to hang out a little bit in Cleveland this summer at the National, and he's just a fantastic guy that I was very happy to vote for again. The next one is Josh over at J. Sotomayor 1. October 2019 was his first video, and Josh hasn't made a video since the Strongsville, Ohio show last year. He attended, he picked up some crazy stuff. I strongly recommend checking out that video. So I hope Josh will be more active here in 2025 and beyond, because he has so much knowledge, so much passion for this crazy high-end pre-war stuff that is always a pleasure to look at and learn about for someone that's more of a post-war guy. And Josh has been in this community, like I said, since 2019, extremely involved. He was doing weightlifting content before he started making card content, but just a really great member of this community, long-standing. His collection is really awesome, and you can go back. He's one of those channels where going back and watching the old videos is well worth it, because you will not only learn a bunch, but you will see a lot of great eye-popping stuff. Next channel is a duo, Ryan and Steven, over at Breakout Cards. Their first video was September of 2020, and they're a little bit different than some of these other channels because they're not necessarily collection first. They do a lot of card shop and card showcases, as well as what they've been doing recently, which I've really enjoyed, is showing off the different highest selling things from auction houses, because someone like me doesn't go down the auction house rabbit hole very often, but I get to see kind of the bullet points, the highlights of some of the big things to sell and what they're selling for at these auction houses through their website. Ryan's also someone that's extremely into the obscure, both non-sport and baseball, and it's really fun to have him sit down and show off parts of his collection and sit down with other collectors that appreciate the oddball stuff, that share their knowledge and show things off. He's done multiple sit-downs with different collectors, and it's been really awesome to watch those as well. I hope he continues those in 2025 and beyond. Both great guys. They're both dealers. I bought a lot of great stuff in my collection from them, and they travel and do this as like a means of income, but they do it through a collecting and education and a community lens. So I really appreciate both those guys and think their channel deserves to be in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. The next one, returning from my ballot last year, is Frank over at Baseball Hall of Fame Autographs. His first video was in December 2020. He did a Man Cave tour, and Frank is an encyclopedia of knowledge. He knows so much about Hall of Fame autographs. He can pretty much write a book on one. What he does is he goes out and goes through each Hall of Famer alphabetically, and he does an autograph analysis, talking about what to look for in a player's autograph, what the most common items are, what the price range is, common fakes to be worried of, and he does a great job. They're super digestible, and they're really helpful for people that are more novice to Hall of Fame autographs like myself. Frank's just a really great guy. I've had the pleasure of sitting down with him at each of the last two Nationals, and had a immense honor of having him on me and Jake's podcast, Cracking Cooperstown, talking about the classic era ballot. Frank's such a great guy, has a crazy museum of Hall of Fame autographs and future Hall of Fame autographs, and a guy that I have a ton of respect for, a guy that should be in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Now we get into my four new ones. These spots did not come easy, so for those of you that were hoping to be on my ballot that didn't end up making the cut, it's nothing personal. I only have 10 votes, and I tried to stick to the loyalty aspect for the 6 that didn't make it last year, and went with who I thought was the most deserving to me, splitting hairs here in the last 4 spots here. And the first one is a hobby hero. It is Samy Thunder. His first video was in March of 2021. And Samy is just a total gem of a human being. He is so kind, so just thoughtful, and a guy that is incredibly honest in a community and a hobby, I guess, where you see a lot of dishonesty. He's a breath of fresh air, and I'm very proud that I was someone rooming with Samy in Chicago 2 years ago to put him down this path of going for more type collecting cards, the harder to find oddball cards, and he has amassed in that time since the Chicago National 2 summers ago a ridiculous collection of his Four Horsemen, Christy Mathewson, Tom Seaver, Willie Mays, and Nolan Ryan, and a guy that I had the pleasure of rooming with again in Cleveland this summer, a guy that has become a true hobby friend, and I have a ton of respect for him and his collection and his channel. He does cardboard and cold ones and vintage chill and chats on his channel. He also is one of the 4 collectors and does lives and trivia over there. And his pickup videos are must see. He really cares about the community and puts in the effort that is Hall of Fame worthy. So Sammy, you got my vote, brother. Next is Iconic Baseball Al, November 7th, 2021. So Al is one of the channels to watch if you're into lists, because he started his whole channel with his iconic top 100, and he counted down the 100 most iconic players in baseball cards, and it was a fantastic series. I really enjoyed following it. It was must watch. Me and him had some disagreements here and there, but for the most part, I think he did a really good job explaining why he had players where he had them. And Al is another one of those guys. Total sweetheart, great energy, great production value, a guy that I've had the pleasure of talking to at the last couple nationals, and he just picks up crazy things for his collection. I love that he has some structure and looks for certain pieces and certain cards of certain players. He's very focused, and his collection is insane. So a great guy with a great channel, and stay iconic, everybody. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Next is a name that is extremely fitting, Orlando, over at Collector's Dream, January 1st, 2022. So just made the cut. Orlando is maybe the sweetest man in the hobby. We just talked about 2 sweethearts in Al and Sammy. Orlando is so kind. He is so supportive of new up-and-coming channels, and he has been such an addition to this YouTube community. He is a wealth of knowledge. His first video was talking about the first football card, the Beecher, and he's went on and taught us all about so many different card sets and players. A guy who has that custom placemat that we can all picture, and truly has assembled what is a collector's dream to many. His collection's insane, his knowledge is insane, and a guy that is more than deserving of the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. Last but not least, standing at about 5 foot tall, is Dylan over at Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. January 6th, 2022 was his first video. Dylan has said he wants to be in the Hall of Fame, and no duh, Dylan. you are a sports card Hall of Famer. There is no doubt about it. Your energy is infectious. You have such. I'm 25 years old, and you have a more of a, outshone passion than even I do sometimes for this hobby, and it's just so fun to watch your videos. You're always so excited to pick stuff up, always so excited to see what other people pick up, and you're such an amazing member of this community. His custom shelves in his man cave are really, really awesome, and he's just someone that just spews positivity into this community, and that's really what this whole process is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be honoring these guys with great collections, great channels that are great people, and being positive about it, not being negative about who voted for who, or who gets in and who didn't, and who can vote and who can't, and all these subjective things. It's about who deserves to be in this YouTube Baseball Card Hall of Fame, and Double D Vintage Baseball Cards deserves to be in there as well. A guy who's become a true hobby friend that I appreciate a lot, and me and him always have great conversation back and forth, even coming from completely different perspectives. So I appreciate those of you that stuck around to the end. Again, if you did not make my ballot and were eligible, I do apologize. It's so hard to narrow it down to 10, but I hope that, again, multiple people that I voted for here will get elected and open up more spots so I can continue to push the narrative for the people that I think are the most deserving. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you guys next time.